The wizardry of Lucas. The mastery of Coppola. The phenomenal music and dance of Michael Jackson. Captain EO. In spectacular 3D. Coming September 19th to Disneyland at Walt Disney World and nowhere else in the universe.
In 1986, Disney did something extraordinary. At a time when the company was struggling to reinvent itself, they teamed up with three of the biggest names in entertainment. Michael Jackson, the king of pop at the absolute height of his fame. George Lucas, fresh from the success of Star Wars, Return of the Jedi, and Francis Ford Coppola, the Academy Award-winning director of The Godfather. Together, they created Captain EO, a 17-minute 3D space adventure that wasn't just a theme park show, but the most expensive short film ever made. With cutting-edge effects, original music, and in-theater technology that blasted audiences with smoke, lasers, and sound, Captain EO promised to change the future of theme park entertainment forever. But behind the lasers and moonwalking aliens was something even bigger. A story of soaring ambition, massive risk, and a legacy Disney never quite expected. This is the rise, the fall, and the unforgettable history of Captain EO. The early 1980s were a difficult time for Disney. Attendance at the parks was flat. Critics said the company felt old-fashioned, and corporate raiders were circling. When Michael Eisner became CEO in 1984, he knew Disney needed a shot of modern star power. His idea was simple. If Disney was going to matter again, it had to team up with the icons of the day. And who was bigger than Michael Jackson? Jackson's Thriller had shattered records and made him the most famous entertainer on Earth. He wanted to work with Disney so badly that he even pitched himself as Peter Pan in a live-action film. Eisner said no to that, but offered him something different, his own intergalactic musical adventure. And Eisner didn't stop there. He brought in George Lucas as executive producer and Francis Ford Coppola to direct. Coppola later admitted he thought it was a joke at first. After all, this was the man behind The Godfather, suddenly making a theme park movie with Michael Jackson. But Lucas insisted. In fact, Eisner originally considered Steven Spielberg, but Lucas said Coppola was the only one crazy enough to take it on. Only the 80s could have made this collaboration possible. From day one, Captain EO was unlike anything Disney or Hollywood had ever attempted. What began as a 12-minute idea quickly grew into a 17-minute sci-fi musical, filmed with full feature film standards. Principal photography began in July 1985, overseen by director Francis Ford Coppola and executive producer George Lucas. Disney wanted something that looked cinematic, even when projected in a theme park theater. So the film was shot in 70mm 3D under the supervision of specialist cinematographer Peter Anderson, with legendary visual artist Vittorio Storaro, known for Apocalypse Now, consulting on lighting and color design. The budget ballooned to roughly $23 million, making Captain EO the most expensive short film ever created. That meant each minute of film cost more than an average Hollywood feature, a staggering figure for a 17-minute attraction. The creature effects were handled by Rick Baker, the same genius behind Michael Jackson's Thriller makeup. Working with Tom Berman, Baker developed the Supreme Leader's skeletal, biomechanical look for Anjelica Huston. The Supreme Leader's look even drew inspiration from alien designer H.R. Giger, though toned down for Disney audiences. The daily prosthetic application took several hours, with Huston suspended on wires for portions of the shoot. Baker also oversaw the creation of EO's tiny flying sidekick, Fuzzball, a puppet so delicate it required 16 separate wires and a team of operators to make it flutter convincingly above Jackson's shoulder. Behind the camera, Anderson's crew engineered the 3D effects the hard way, by shooting multiple passes through the same lens to align the depth cues perfectly. Even simple shots, like the Captain EO logo jutting toward the audience, took days of testing. Every frame had to be choreographed with lasers, smoke, and creature rigs already in place. And then there was the dancing, the heartbeat of the film. Choreography was led by Jeffrey Hornaday, best known for Flashdance and a chorus line, working closely with Michael himself. Jackson wasn't just performing, he was shaping the movement vocabulary of the entire piece. Hornaday directed a cast of about 36 dancers, each rehearsing long hours to perfect routines that blended military precision with Jackson's signature pop and lock fluidity. The two original songs, We Are Here to Change the World and Another Part of Me, were designed as storytelling through dance. EO's sharp robotic movements, representing struggle and defiance, gradually giving way to open, celebratory motion as he transforms the Supreme Leader's dark world into one of light. Cast members later recalled the set as intense but full of energy. Between takes, Jackson would joke with the puppeteers and creature crew, but the moment the cameras rolled, he demanded perfection. From himself, most of all. His commitment pushed everyone around him to aim higher. Visually, Coppola and Storaro lit Huston like a living sculpture, harsh, angular beams highlighting the metal and sinew of her costume, while Anderson's 3D camera placement kept Jackson's choreography crystal clear, even in the thick of lasers and smoke. It was a strange and perfect fusion of feature film discipline, music video rhythm, and theme park spectacle, the kind of alchemy only the 1980s could produce. By the time filming wrapped, Disney knew they had something extraordinary on their hands, a short film with the scale, sound, and ambition of a blockbuster. Now, all that was left was to show it to the world. For months, anticipation built inside the company and among fans who'd heard whispers of a secret Michael Jackson project unlike anything Disney had ever done. Technicians worked around the clock to outfit Disneyland's Magic Eye Theater with custom 70mm projectors, fiber optic effects, and laser rigs powerful enough to sync perfectly with the film's soundtrack. When September 12, 1986, arrived at Disneyland, the park was buzzing with anticipation. For weeks, word had spread that something extraordinary was about to open, a 3D musical unlike anything Disney had ever attempted.
You're invited to Disney's Captain EO grand opening with hosts Justine Bateman and Patrick Duffy, plus a preview of Michael Jackson as Captain EO Saturday.
Crowds lined up overnight, eager to be among the first to see Captain EO. The theater had been completely transformed into a high-tech space stage, filled with fiber optics, smoke jets, and laser systems ready to sync with the beat of Michael Jackson's music. Inside, guests didn't just watch a movie, they felt it. Smoke filled the air, lasers shot across the audience, and glowing star fields seemed to stretch into infinity. The bass from Jackson's soundtrack hit so hard during test runs that it literally cracked the theater's plaster, forcing engineers to reinforce the walls before opening day. When the big moment came, George Lucas, Francis Ford Coppola, and actress Anjelica Huston cut the red ribbon, officially opening the attraction. But there was one noticeable absence: Michael Jackson himself. According to the Los Angeles Times, Jackson skipped the ribbon-cutting ceremony entirely. Eisner even joked that Michael was somewhere in the park, in disguise, quietly watching the festivities unfold. Whether or not anyone spotted him, his presence was everywhere. For guests, Captain EO felt like stepping into a live Michael Jackson concert set in outer space. The mix of 3D visuals, music, and in-theater effects was revolutionary. Lines stretched for hours, and fans came back again and again. Disney hadn't just launched a new attraction, they'd created a cultural event. But time moves fast, and by the mid-1990s, Captain EO began to feel like a relic. Its neon outfits, shoulder pads, and upbeat, "We can save the world through dance" optimism screamed 1986. And Michael Jackson's personal image was shifting under controversy. Disney quietly started phasing it out. By 1997, Captain EO was replaced at Disneyland with Honey, I Shrunk the Audience. By 1998, Epcot followed suit. Fans were disappointed, but Disney considered the film dated and no longer worth the upkeep. The neon optimism of Captain EO faded into memory, replaced by new attractions that reflected a new era of Disney storytelling. For years, the theater stood as a silent reminder of the company's boldest and strangest experiment. A time when the king of pop and the creator of Star Wars joined forces to bring music and magic to outer space. For most, it seemed like Captain EO was gone forever. For more than a decade, Captain EO sat forgotten in the Disney archives, and few expected it to ever return. Then, on June 25th, 2009, the world was shocked by the sudden death of Michael Jackson.
Fire paramedic 33, what is your emergency?
Yes, sir. I need an ambulance as soon as possible, sir. Sir, we have a gentleman here that needs help, and he's not breathing yet. He's not breathing, and we're trying to pump him, but he's not.
Okay. Okay. How old is he?
He's 50 years old, sir.
50. Okay. Did anybody witness what happened?
No, just the doctor, sir. The doctor's been the only one here.
Okay. So the doctor see what happened?
Doctor, did you see what happened, sir? Sir, you just, if you can please.
We're on our way. We're on our way. I'm just passing these questions on to my paramedics while they're on the way there, sir.
Thank you, sir. He's pumping the chest, but he's not responding to anything, sir. Please.
Okay. We're on our way.
Almost overnight, interest in his work surged again. And among Disney fans, one question echoed across message boards and fan clubs. Could Captain EO ever come back? Disney began looking into the possibility, but there was a problem. When Imagineers pulled the original film reels from storage, they discovered the film had badly deteriorated after more than a decade in the vault. The only way to make it playable again was to digitally restore it frame by frame, a painstaking process handled by Disney's technical services team in late 2009. That restoration effort became the foundation for the attraction's rebirth, a labor of love done not just to honor Michael Jackson, but to preserve one of Disney's most ambitious projects. In February 2010, Captain EO Tribute officially reopened at Disneyland in California. Fans packed the Magic Eye Theater once more, many seeing the show for the first time, others returning to relive a piece of their childhood. Some elements had changed. The original in-theater lasers were removed, and the 1980s pre-show documentary was replaced. But the spirit of the film remained intact. For a new generation, it was a chance to experience Michael Jackson at his most creative. For older fans, it was a heartfelt return to a time when Disney dared to experiment. Over the next few years, Captain EO Tribute played again at Epcot, Tokyo Disneyland, and Disneyland Paris. But by 2015, its final curtain had fallen. Epcot hosted the last official showing that December, bringing an end to the attraction's remarkable second life. Even so, the 2009 restoration ensured Captain EO would never be lost again. The film was finally preserved in a digital format, safe, secure, and ready for the day Disney decides to share it with the world once more. Today, Captain EO feels like a time capsule of the 1980s. Bold, experimental, and a little outrageous. But its influence still ripples outward in surprising ways. In 2024, fans of Star Wars Skeleton Crew noticed something strange. In Episode 2, a small winged alien appears in a cage, almost identical to Fuzzball. The resemblance is uncanny, right down to the fuzzy body and butterfly wings. This Easter egg set off a wave of speculation. Could Captain EO actually be part of the Star Wars galaxy? After all, George Lucas oversaw both projects. Some fans even suggest Skeleton Crew could serve as a spiritual prequel, placing EO's species within Star Wars canon. Whether intentional or not, it shows EO's legacy is still alive in the most unexpected places. And then there's the ongoing question fans keep asking. Why hasn't Disney released Captain EO properly? For years, people have pleaded for a Blu-ray, a DVD, or at the very least, a Disney Plus release. Yet to this day, Disney has kept it locked away. Why? There's no official answer, but there are plenty of theories. Some believe music licensing and rights with Michael Jackson's estate complicate things. Others point out that a 17-minute 3D film doesn't fit easily into home media formats. And Disney itself may be cautious. Michael's legacy is complicated, and the company might not want to spotlight that controversy. It could also come down to cost. Restoring the 3D version for streaming or Blu-ray would be expensive for what Disney might see as a niche audience. For now, fans make do with bootleg recordings, old TV broadcasts, or shaky camcorder uploads. But the demand is there. People want Captain EO preserved, restored, and celebrated, not hidden in the vault. For a brief moment in the 1980s, Disney turned a theme park theater into a cosmic concert. Captain EO wasn't just a film, it was an experiment in star power, technology, and ambition. It brought together legends, broke records, and left a mark that still fascinates fans today. And while the theaters are dark now, its echoes live on, in the surprise cameos on Disney Plus, in the memories of those who saw it live, and in the constant calls for Disney to finally set it free. Captain EO may not have changed the world, but for 17 minutes inside a Disney park, it certainly felt like it could. If you ever got the chance to experience Captain EO, I'd love to hear your memories in the comments. And tell me, would you like to see it return to the parks one day? And if you're one of the many fans hoping Disney finally releases it on Blu-ray or Disney Plus, add your voice to the chorus, because you never know. If you enjoyed this look back at Captain EO, hit subscribe and join me for more deep dives into the Disney and Universal attractions we've lost to time. There's plenty more still to come.